Welcome to Over 50 TV. My name is Reyes. Well, the topic of today's video is don't waste your 50s tips from someone who's been there. And when I say someone who's been there, obviously, or maybe not so obviously, I'm talking about myself and about some of the years that I've wasted. But I don't want to just dwell on those years. What I want to talk about more is how we can take advantage of what I consider to be the most productive years of our life. You know, we're in our 50s, many of you out there, and, you know, you've got all this experience, all this knowledge, all these skills. But yet for some of us, and I can tell you, some of us, basically, we stand like we're in quicksand while this world is swirling all around us and all these things are happening, all these changes are occurring. But yet we stand in this place and we stay stagnant and we don't do anything to take advantage of these great years that we've got ahead of us. So don't waste your 50s. And again, tips from someone who's been there. And that, my friends, that's all up next right here on Over 50 TV. Welcome back to Over 50 TV. My name is Reyes. And as I said in the opening, in this video, we're going to talk about don't waste your 50s. And I'm going to really try to encourage you to take advantage of these best years, what I consider, as I said, the best years of our life. And I'll share some experiences and some tips. And some of what I'm going to share with you are tips and experiences that I've gotten from our viewers, people who literally every single week, some of them anyway, every single week will comment on a video. And I get lots of comments, probably anywhere from 100 to, I don't know, over 100 comments a week on videos. So yeah, a lot of people comment. Depends on the video. Some of them get a huge amount. But what I do get when I read these comments is I just look and I say, man, we are, all of us, so many of us are just wasting these years. So we're going to get into it. I'm going to dive kind of deep into it. I'll give you some ways, some tips on how you can take advantage of these best years. Before I do that, though, I do want to mention a couple things. One, I always want to mention that in the description box of this video, I've got a free cover letter. It's a cover letter that I say hiring managers can't resist. It's a 5-sentence cover letter. I put it together. I think you can use all of it or a portion of this cover letter when you're sending out your resume. Now, I also have a free career aptitude test, and this test is courtesy of CareerFitter. Now, I do want to mention something that I have become an affiliate of CareerFitter. So you get the free version of CareerFitter, but if you decide that you want to dive deep and really get into your career and you want to get some jobs, some solid jobs that you can apply for, well, there's a paid version. So as an affiliate, what happens is if you buy the paid version, I get a small percentage of what you invest in your future. So I just want to let you know that I am now an affiliate, and I'm glad to be working with CareerFitter. I really enjoy working with these guys. I think their career aptitude test is great. But listen, let's just get into the video because that really is the most important thing right now. Number one, and I think maybe even number one is the number one reason that we waste our 50s. And this is a reason that I know many of you out there have heard from people. Let's say you want to do something. You decide, I'm going to leave my job. Or you decide, I'm going to start a business. I'm going to do this. But then you start talking to your friends, your neighbors, maybe your coworkers, and they're all, no, Lou, you don't want to do it. No, that's probably not a good idea. Look you're in your 50s. Oh my God, you're in your 50s, Lou. What are you thinking? So what happens is you don't do anything because you listen to these people, you listen to them, and they persuade you just by their negativity because they would never do it. But, you know, look at them. What have they accomplished? What have they done? They don't do things that you want to do, and yet you're asking them for their opinion. I'll give you a great example. When I started my publishing company, my first publishing company, I remember deciding I was going to start it. I remember talking to some of my good friends, and they liked me and they believed in me. But you know what? They believed in me when I was wearing a white shirt and a tie working for a company. But they didn't believe in me, or maybe they didn't believe in themselves when I said, I'm going to start a business. I'm going to start this business. I really believe in this. I will tell you this, had I listened to them, I would never have built a business that generated millions of dollars a year in sales. I would never have built a business that let me meet some of the most famous people in the country, and some of them, I will say even this, maybe some of the most famous people in the world I was able to meet because I started a business and I believed in myself and I didn't let these other people hold me back. And I'm suggesting to you, don't let other people hold you back. Don't listen to them, the naysayers, the people who aren't doing something. Talk to people who are doing. Now, another thing that I see, another tip that I want to share with you is there are many folks out there, and I get so many messages, as I said to you, and I just feel like this is just such a great platform that we have here at Over 50 TV, because people can share their thoughts and their experiences and their dreams and their disappointments. But sometimes what happens, I see, is that people feel sorry for themselves. They feel like, oh, woe is me, and look what's happened to me. I lost my job. I got laid off. She left me. He left me. You know, my car got repossessed. I've gotten a few of those from people who have said that to me. But, you know, we feel sorry for ourselves, and I've been there. I have been there. I wasted years feeling sorry for myself. I had a marriage that just wasn't working out, and when it ended, I just was basically I felt like I was in a desert, walking in the sands over the dunes and walking and not really getting anywhere. So when you stop feeling sorry for yourself, it's when you can accomplish and when you can do the things that you are really meant to be doing. So I'll ask many of you out there, don't feel sorry for yourself. Look at the experience that you had, that firing that you got, that jerky HR manager and how they treated you, or how some of your coworkers weren't nice to you. Forget them. They don't care about you. They could care less. So my thought is, quit feeling sorry for yourself. It's okay. For a bit, for a time, for a short time. But don't do what I did. Don't go through years of basically where you're just so upset, you're so disappointed, you're in anguish. No, don't do that. Get over that. Overcome this feeling, this dreaded feeling where you're just feeling sorry for yourself. Another tip that I do want to share with you, and this is a I believe this is a very helpful tip, is if you're at a job, if you're working at a company, and they're not giving you the raise that you deserve, they're not giving you what you need out of that job, out of the fulfillment that you need working at a place that you believe you should have because you deserve it. If you're not getting the money that you need, leave. So often I see from people who comment, they say, Lou, you know, I've been here, I've got this dinky little raise, this tiny little raise, and it's not much at all, and I don't know what to do. And yeah, you know, in their mind they're saying I don't know what to do, but they're really thinking I need to leave. But they don't leave. They're wasting their valuable time. They're wasting their 50s working somewhere, investing their time. They're investing their money because they're not making enough money. Leave that company. Leave the job. You know, some people might say, well, Lou, that's really a bad bit of advice you're giving there. Leave the job. Well, you don't know what's going to happen. They don't know what's going to happen. But you know what? You do know what's going to happen where you're at. You do know. You know you're not going to go anywhere. You know you're not going to be able to pay your bills. You know you're not going to have the money to invest. You're not going to have the money for your grandkids or your children when they need your help. So my thing is this, the theme, don't waste your 50s. Don't waste your 50s working for someone who doesn't deserve you. Now, this tip is similar to the tip that I just gave you about if you're not making the money, you're not feeling fulfilled, leave. It's similar in that people will work for a company, and when you're working at a company, and I see this and I've heard this is true with a lot of men, although I'm sure it's true with many women as well. That job becomes your life. You know, you're putting in 40 hours a week or 45 hours or sometimes 50 or maybe even more than that. Well, it becomes your life. Well, my tip would be this. Don't let that job become your life. Don't let it become your life. If you're not happy there, you're not, and as I mentioned earlier, you're not fulfilled at a place, don't let that job become your life, because the years go by so quickly. And we say this and we know this, especially as we get older. We look back at our life and say, oh my God, look at all the time, how fast it's gone. Well, if you're 50 or you're 51 or you're 55 or you're 58, the years are going by and you're stuck in this place because you've allowed yourself to be stuck. It doesn't have to be your life. This company, this place that doesn't, I stress all the time, it doesn't deserve you. And maybe there are places that do deserve you. But the bottom line is, if it's not where you want to be, it doesn't have to be your life. And that's the point here, is don't let some job, don't let some place, don't let any place or anyone be your life. Be your own person. You can make the changes. Don't waste your 50s by working on a project or projects that you don't finish. And I can give you the best example of what I mean by just kind of telling you a story about a friend of mine, a good friend of mine, who had 7 acres of property in a beautiful area. And when he got to 7 acres of land, what he did is he decided he was going to put in this giant garden, well over a half acre, I believe it was. I'm just kind of guessing, but it looked like it was a pretty big percentage or large portion of his overall property. So he starts putting in this garden, puts a fence around it. Then he decides while he's doing that, he's looking out over the hill and he says, you know what, that would be a really nice place to put a little pavilion. So before he finishes working on the garden, or completes the garden, he starts working on a pavilion. Well, while he's doing that and it's getting hot out, I remember it was in the summertime, and this is no fooling, no kidding, this is true story. I remember he says to me, Lou, I got to put a pool up. I need to get a pool so it's cool. So when I'm done working on my garden, I'm done working on or I want to have some leisure time after I do a cookout in my pavilion, he goes, I can have a pool. So he starts putting the pool up, digging out the foundation, the area that he needed so he could build it. Well, he's not finishing any of these projects, and over time he just gets bored. He decides, well, I'll get to the garden when I get to it. I'm going to get to the pavilion when I get to it. I'm going to get to the pool when I get to it. And he never finishes anything. And I think that is almost, I guess you'd say, a metaphor for what we do in terms of starting things and not finishing, not accomplishing. So you're always in the process. Some of us are always in the process of doing something, but we don't finish it. We start, we stop, but we don't finish. And the time goes by and we're wasting our 50s because the time that we're putting in all these starts and stops, we're not doing other things that we could accomplish, that we could finish, that could benefit us when we're in our 60s and 70s and our 80s. So the point being is, don't start without finishing. Finish one project at a time and then move on to the next. We don't want to waste our 50s. Don't waste your 50s by being a lifetime student. And how many of you out there have either this that could describe you, or maybe it describes someone that you know who's taking class after class and never finishing, or taking a class and then never utilizing the skills or the talents that they develop by taking those classes. And a great example would be people that I've seen, people that I know who will take a class and learn how to get into yoga, learn how to become a yoga instructor. And then after they do that, they decide, you know what, I don't know if this is working out. I'm going to go ahead and I am going to take classes so I can become a massage therapist. And then they get into real estate when the massage therapist doesn't work out, and they decide they're going to get a real estate license. And I know people, and I know close friends of mine who have done this, and when I look at it and say, you're wasting your 50s because you're taking all these classes and you don't really know what you want, and I don't see the long-term benefit. I believe that you learn from everything that you do, but we're in our 50s. Let's use that talent, those skills, and that experience that we've developed, that we have. So the tip would be this: if you're going to take a class, that's fine, take it, see if you like that being in that area. But if you don't, it's okay to go on to the next. But when you notice this pattern developing and you see that you've taken 5 different classes in different areas, and then you do nothing with it. Well, then that's a pattern. You're wasting your 50s. You're wasting your time. And if you enjoy doing that, maybe you're not wasting your time. But if you want to accomplish something, yeah, you need to figure out what you're going to do and look at that pattern and stop that pattern. The last, what I will say, tip that I want to share with you is really from a video that I did. I think it was a couple years ago. Maybe it was a year ago. It was brutally honest career advice for people over 50. And that video got quite a few views. I think it was probably 250,000, 250,000 views, and I got a huge amount of comments on that video. And what I was said basically in that video, and I'm going to say it again now today, is people will dream. They say they want to do things, but they never do it. They say they want to go on a long vacation and get away from everything, and that's always been their dream, but they never do it, even though they could do it if they just decided they were going to do it. Or people who will say, I'm going to start a business. I know I'm going to start this business, but you know what? They never get around to starting it. And years go by, and there's always an excuse, and there's always a reason why they don't do it. But when I said brutally honest career advice, when I did that video, it was really about a person that I knew very, very well who was always telling me about what she was going to do. And there was always something that she was going to do, and she was going to do, and she was going to do, and she never did it. And eventually there came a time in her life and a period where she said, I wasted all this time, Lou. I never did those things I wanted to do. And now it was too late for her, and basically because of some physical, I guess you'll say, limitations, but serious physical limitations, and she wasted all that time dreaming and not doing, thinking and not acting. And when that happens and you look back and you say, God, I wasted all these years of my life and I didn't do the things that I really wanted to do. And then you have those regrets. So my tip to you is this: if there's something that you want to do, there's something that you've been dreaming about, well, continue dreaming, but act. Open up your eyes one day and wake up and say, you know, I'm going to do this. If it's starting a business, it's okay. Start that business. I always suggest when it comes to starting a business, start a side hustle first. Get your feet wet. Get yourself successes that'll help to motivate you to go forward. But the worst thing, and the poem, this old poem that I remember reading, is the saddest words of sword or pen are these, what might have been. But don't look back at your life and say what might have been. Well, my friends, that is all that I've got for you today. And I've shared with you some of my own experiences, as I said in the beginning of the video, which is what I was going to do, and I did. But I also shared with you some things that I've heard from other people who I've been fortunate enough to communicate with, to share comments and emails with people who watch Over 50 TV, and people who are saying the same as I say, man, is let's not waste our 50s. Let's do something. And again, I stress that there are plenty of people out there who realize that we are in the best time. We're in our 50s. We've got the experience, the skills to do great things if we just decide we want to do those. But don't waste your 50s. These are valuable times, and let's enjoy the rest of our life, the decades that we've got ahead of us. Well, that's all I got for you today, my friends. I do appreciate your watching this video, and this was one that I felt like I needed to produce, and it's a little bit different, I think, than some of the other videos I produce. But it's, I think, an important, as I said, an important video to put out there for all of you. If you do have any comments, any questions, please submit your comments in the comment section of the video. I do want to mention or remind you, I do have that free cover letter that hiring managers can't resist. It's something I created. I think it's a great tool that you can use to land that job. I also have the Career Fitter Career Aptitude Test. I mentioned I'm an affiliate. You get the free version, so you do get a free version if you want, and I think it's worth it. You don't have to buy the paid version, but either way, it is a great. I believe it's a great career aptitude test for you to use. So again, that's all I got for you. I do want to say one more thing. As I always say, have a great day, everybody.